Morning children. So in the previous class we have completed the lesson about the northern plains, the second major physical feature of India, and now we have come to the next one, the Great Indian Desert. Okay, so in the first chapter we read about the Himalayas, which lies in the northern part of India in three ranges, mountain ranges. And then to the south of it, we had the Great Indian Plain, which is flourished by the Satluj Plain, the Gangetic Plain, and the Brahmaputra Plain, which will extend into the northeastern part. Right now, to the west of this particular northern plains, right to the west. So this is the northern plains. To the west of this, we have the Great Indian Desert, the driest land area in India. Okay, so to the west of northern plains, we have the Great Indian Desert. It is also known as the Thar Desert. What do we call that? Either we call it the Great Indian Desert or the Thar Desert. Got it? Now, the extent of the Thar Desert is actually the Kutch region. So, this is the western side of representational map, not exact, okay? So, the western side of India, right? And this region of Gujarat is known as the Ran of Kutch. Okay. Ran of Kutch. So it starts from this region, the edges of Ran of Kutch, and here we have Punjab and Haryana. So it extends up to Punjab Haryana region in the north, and we have Aravalli mountains here. Okay, we have Aravalli mountains here. And this shaded region is the extent of the Thar Desert. Okay, it's not just within the physical boundary of the political boundary of Rajasthan. It actually gets extended into the Pakistan also. Okay, so to the west of the northern plains. To the west of the northern plains, we have the driest land region of India, which is called the Great Indian Desert or the Thar Desert, right? So, the Thar Desert or the Great Indian Desert is the driest part of India that lies on the western side of northern plains. It's very dry. This is vast. It's very vast, isn't it? It's a very long area is there actually in this Thar Desert. It is dry. It's a desert. So definitely it will be dry. Then sandy. Deserts will not have fertile soil, isn't it? The kind of soil that we have in the desert region is a sandy soil and rocky also. Rocky means, plenty of rocks are there, right? We know most of the marbles that we buy nowadays in our for the construction of our houses and all. Yes, most of them come from Rajasthan region. Okay, so the speciality of Indian desert, it's very vast. And entire one of the biggest states of India is Rajasthan, and it's almost completely covered in the Thar Desert. And it also extends to some regions of Pakistan also. So it's very vast, it's very dry, it's desert, there won't be very high rainfall there. So definitely that is dry, sandy, it's full of sand, there's no fertile soil available there, and then it is very rocky. Okay. Now, we know desert region receives very less rainfall. Desert region receives very less rainfall, and there are not much other water sources also. Deserts receive very less rainfall, and there are not much other water resources also. Okay, So the underground water resources actually depends upon the rainfall, isn't it? The underground water resources basically depends upon a rainfall. So as the rainfall itself is very less, there are not much underground water sources also as far as the deserts are concerned. Okay. So as water is very less, plants and animals are also very less in this region. The kind of plants what we can commonly find here are thorny plants. What kind of plants are seen there? Thorny plants like cactus. So what is the speciality of cactus? There are two specialities that makes cactus a suitable or ideal plant to be grown or which can grow in desert and dry region. Okay. So there are two basic reasons which make a cactus special or it can grow in the desert region. One, its roots can go very deep and far low. Okay, its roots can go very deep and far in search of water. Second, have you seen cactus leaves? It's fleshy. Okay, so it's a thick cover and within that there is a jelly kind of a stuff. So it stores water in those leaves. Okay, so cactus are some of the thorny plants which can grow there, very commonly grown. Then there is another common tree called the kikar. That's a bushy plant. Oh, okay. Then there is a babool tree. Babool. Right? So, most often the common kinds of plants or trees that we can find in the Indian desert region are thorny plants like cactus, then kikar and babool. Right? We have already seen the desert is covered with sand. Okay? Desert is a dry land. It's covered with the sand and sometimes there will be sand dunes. So what is sand dunes? Yeah, sand dunes are nothing else but a heap of sand which resembles a small hill or something like that. Show a picture of that. So sand dunes are nothing else but a heap of sand which looks like a hill. And another common factor that we can find in desert region are sandstorms. So there are no plants and trees over there, isn't it? So the wind can blow with its maximum speed, and as it blows at the maximum speed, what happens is it carries a lot of sand also along with that. So in sand, we know there are small particles are there, big particles are there, isn't it? Sand has a small particles, sand has a big particles, right? So now, the smaller particles of sand can be easily carried away by the wind, right? So, when the speed of the wind reduces, what happens? Yeah, all the sand that this wind was carrying gets settled, deposited at one place. Got it? All the sand that it was carrying gets deposited at one place and that appears to be a heap, a hill. Okay, and that is what we call as the sand dunes. So most often sand dunes are created by the wind and the sand dune can be carried away by another wind also. Okay, so the soil in the desert region is more sandy and the sand dunes are the heap of sands which resembles small hills which are commonly found in the desert region. They are not permanent. They are not fixed at one place because the heavy wind, we usually call it the storms, carry away these sands from one place to another and the sands get deposited at one place when the speed of the wind gets less. Fine. So then the sand dunes get transferred from one place to other. Okay. So sandstorms and dust storms are quite common in a desert region. Fine. Now